Sir, we have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans.
I don't believe you served in the military. I haven't either, but I think you and I can agree that as Americans, we owe everything to those who have served our country in uniform, particularly those who have served in combat. Do you agree with that?
Sir, I believe that people that are in this United States that are citizens have legal status here.
Madam Secretary, we are joined on Zoom by a gentleman named Se-Jun Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989. Like many veterans, he struggled with PTSD and substance abuse after his service. He was arrested in the 1990s for some minor drug offenses, nothing serious. He never hurt anyone besides himself, and he's been clean and sober for 14 years. He is a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient. He has sacrificed more for this country than most people ever have. Earlier this year, you deported him to Korea.
Watch what just happened. A cabinet secretary is asked a yes or no question, how many military veterans have you deported? And she flat out says none. Then seconds later, a named combat veteran is brought in on Zoom, and the claim is that he was deported earlier this year. No edits, no tricks, just the hearing in real time. Now let's rewind slightly and watch the full sequence for context.
Madam Secretary, how many United States military veterans have you deported?
Sir, we have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans.
I don't believe you served in the military. I haven't either, but I think you and I can agree that as Americans, we owe everything to those who have served our country in uniform, particularly those who have served in combat. Do you agree with that?
Sir, I believe that people that are in this United States that are citizens have legal status here.
Madam Secretary, we are joined on Zoom by a gentleman named Se-Jun Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989. Like many veterans, he struggled with PTSD and substance abuse after his service. He was arrested in the 1990s for some minor drug offenses, nothing serious. He never hurt anyone besides himself, and he's been clean and sober for 14 years. He is a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient. He has sacrificed more for this country than most people ever have. Earlier this year, you deported him to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old. Will you join me in thanking Mr. Park for his service to our country?
Sir, I'm grateful for every single person that has served our country and follows our laws.
Can you please tell Mr. Park why you deported him?
Every one of them needs to be enforced.
But you understand that many veterans struggle with PTSD, many veterans struggle with substance abuse challenges. This man took 2 bullets for our country. You have broad authority, by the way, as Secretary, to issue humanitarian parole, to do deferred action. Will you commit to at least looking at Mr. Park's case to see if you can help him find a pathway back to this country that he sacrificed so much for?
I will absolutely look at his case, but I want you to remember that
Madam Secretary, the man behind you, please stand up, sir. His name is Jim Brown from Troy, Missouri. He is a Navy combat veteran who served our country in the Gulf War. He's married to a woman named Donna, who came to our country legally from Ireland when she was 11 years old. She has lived here for 48 years. Because of you, Jim's wife, Donna, has been in prison for the last 4 months. She did not come here illegally, and she has never committed any crime other than writing 2 bad checks totaling $80 10 years ago. She is currently in prison and facing deportation. Ms. Noem, will you thank Mr. Brown for his service to our country?
Thank you, Mr. Brown, for your service to our country.
Now, what possible explanation can there be for locking up his wife for 4 months when she has committed no crime other than writing a couple of bad checks for $80?
Sir, it is not my prerogative, my latitude, or my job to pick and choose which laws in this country get enforced.
You have broad discretion as the Secretary. You can issue parole, you can do all kinds of things, but you're choosing not to. Will you commit, again, to just reviewing Donna's case and reuniting this combat veteran with his beloved wife, who also loves this country?
I will review the case.
Now, Madam Secretary, you've already heard the story of Lance Corporal Alejandro Barranco, the United States Marine veteran who is behind you, who also has 2 brothers who are United States Marines. Will you thank Lance Corporal Barranco for his service?
Thank you for your service.
His father, Narcisco Barranco, is a landscaper in California who has lived peacefully in our country for 30 years and has no criminal record. Last spring, While he was mowing the lawn at an IHOP, ICE agents tackled him in the street and imprisoned him for weeks. A peaceful, hard-working man who raised 3 sons to be United States Marines. We need men of that character in this country. Again, as Secretary, you have broad discretion. Will you consider Lance Corporal Bronco's father for parole in place to stay in our country, owing to the fact that he has contributed to our country by raising 3 United States Marines?
This is an opportunity to remind everybody that every person that's in this country illegally has an opportunity to voluntarily go home and come back the right way.
He raised
Follow our
3
laws,
United States
and we will
Marines.
facilitate that.
He has been living here peacefully, doing his job for 30 years. You have discretion. You are choosing not to use it. Madam Secretary, you promised America that you would go after the worst of the worst. But these people are not the worst of the worst. A Purple Heart recipient, a military spouse, the father of 3 Marines. And it's not just veterans and military families. You are locking up and deporting children with cancer, mothers with babies in the NICU, United States citizens. There are many problems with your leadership, but the biggest problem is this. You don't seem to know how to tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. Go after the bad guys. Go after the terrorists. Do not go after veterans, Marines, children,
Gentleman's
United
time's
States
expired.
citizens. I yield back.
Time's expired.
Watch what you just saw, because that wasn't a calm policy discussion. That was a live stress test of a slogan. When the government says support the troops, does that support survive contact with paperwork? It opens with a simple question and an even simpler denial. No veterans deported, no U.S. citizens deported, none. Clean, confident. The kind of answer that's meant to shut the door before anyone can walk in with facts. But the congressman doesn't come back with a statistic or a think tank quote. He comes back with a human being, a named Army combat veteran on Zoom, described as shot twice in service, later struggling with PTSD and addiction afterward, and then getting sober for years. And then he makes the core allegation that this veteran was deported to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was a kid. That's the collision right there. A polished denial meeting a messy story that refuses to stay off camera. Now watch the secretary's survival tactic. She doesn't litigate the details right there. She reaches for the safest bunker in Washington, the law. Even the gratitude is conditional. Thank you for your service becomes thank you for your service and for following our laws. That's not just a compliment. It's a verdict. It's patriotism with terms and conditions, like you're returning a toaster. And the congressman keeps forcing the same issue, discretion. He points out that top officials have tools for humanitarian relief, for parole, for deferred action. In the real world, enforcement is never automatic. It's priorities, it's choices. It's deciding who gets compassion and who gets crushed by procedure. And every time he pushes her toward an actual decision, she offers the most politically perfect non-answer ever invented. I will review the case. Not we were wrong. Not we'll fix it. Just review. It's a verbal airbag. It absorbs the impact without admitting anything, and it buys time without buying justice. Then he stacks more stories to make the pattern undeniable. A Navy combat veteran standing behind her, while his wife is described as someone who came here legally as a child, lived here for decades, and is now jailed and facing deportation over old minor check fraud. Another Marine is thanked for his service, while his father is described as a peaceful landscaper with no criminal record who was tackled and detained while doing his job. These aren't random anecdotes. They're courtroom exhibits. They're meant to collide with the worst of the worst promise and force one uncomfortable question. If this is about dangerous people, why do these examples keep sounding like families? And when she's pressed again to use discretion, she pivots away from the people and back to a generic message. Anyone here illegally can leave and come back the right way. That doesn't answer the cases he just put on the table. It's a reset button. It's how you avoid debating priorities by turning everything into compliance, as if the only moral category that matters is whether a form was filed correctly. The ending hits because it names what the whole exchange has been circling. The failure isn't only policy, it's judgment, a system that can't or won't tell the difference between a real threat and someone who served, stumbled, and rebuilt. Worst of the worst makes for great merch, but real names in the room expose what the machine actually targets and what excuses it uses to justify it. So here's the takeaway. Slogans are easy, governing is choices, and when the best answer on offer is, we'll review it, the public gets to ask the obvious question. Who is this enforcement really designed to protect? And who is it willing to sacrifice to keep the talking point clean? Just receipts. Done.